Stephen was sitting on the floor of his room, surrounded by crumpled sheets of paper. Each sheet had drawings he had made over the past week, but none of them looked exactly how he wanted. His small hands were trembling slightly as he tore another page and threw it on the pile. "Grandpa!" he shouted. "I can't get it right! Every time I try, it looks worse than before. Maybe I'm just not good at drawing." Grandpa, who was sitting quietly on the porch with a cup of tea, looked up with a gentle smile. He slowly walked inside and sat next to Stephen. "Why do you say that, Stephen?" he asked softly. "You've been working hard every day, haven't you?" Stephen sighed. "Yes, Grandpa, but it's never perfect. I want it to be perfect, but I just can't do it. Maybe I shouldn't even try." Grandpa shook his head. "Ah, my boy, that is exactly the trap many people fall into. They think that if it's not perfect, it's a failure. But let me tell you a story about a potter I once knew." Stephen leaned closer, curious. "In a small village," Grandpa began, "there was a potter who wanted to make the most beautiful vase anyone had ever seen. He spent hours shaping the clay, smoothing it, and trying to get it just right. But each time he thought it was perfect, he found a tiny flaw. He would throw the vase away and start over. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months, but he never finished a single vase. He was chasing perfection, but he never produced anything complete." Stephen frowned. "So what happened to the potter?" Grandpa smiled. One day, an old friend came to his workshop and looked at all the unfinished vases. He said, "You have talent, but you're letting perfection stop you. If you focus on progress instead, each vase will be better than the last, and in the end, you will have a collection to be proud of." That day, the potter decided to try a different approach. Instead of aiming for perfect, he aimed for improvement. Each vase didn't have to be flawless, but it had to be a little better than the last. Over time, he became one of the most respected potters in the village. Stephen's eyes widened. So he succeeded by focusing on getting better, not by making everything perfect? "Yes," Grandpa said. "Perfection is an illusion. It doesn't exist. If you chase it, you will always be disappointed, because there will always be something to fix. But progress is real. Progress can be measured. Every small improvement brings you closer to your goals." Stephen looked down at his crumpled drawings. "But Grandpa, I still make mistakes. Even if I try to get better, I sometimes mess up." Grandpa nodded. "And that is good, Stephen. Mistakes are not failures, they're lessons. Each mistake teaches you something new. Each time you draw and try again, you are growing. The most important thing is to keep moving forward. You don't need perfection to make progress." Stephen thought about this for a moment. "So I should just keep drawing even if it's not perfect?" Grandpa smiled and ruffled his hair. "Exactly. And let me give you another example. Imagine you are climbing a mountain. If you stop every time you see a rock in your path and think it must be perfectly clear before moving, you will never reach the top. But if you take one step at a time, adjusting as you go, you will eventually reach the summit. Progress is taking those steps, not waiting for a perfect path." Stephen's face lit up. "I think I understand, Grandpa. It's better to finish something and keep improving than to never finish because I want it to be perfect." Grandpa nodded proudly. "Yes, my boy. And remember, life itself is not perfect. People are not perfect. You are not perfect. But that does not mean you cannot grow, create, or achieve wonderful things. Focus on doing your best today, and tomorrow you will do a little better. That is how real success is built." Stephen picked up a fresh sheet of paper and started drawing again, this time without worrying about mistakes. The lines were uneven and the shapes weren't perfect, but he smiled as he saw his ideas taking shape. Grandpa watched him quietly, sipping his tea, and said softly, Stephen, the goal is not to be perfect, but to be better than you were yesterday. That is the secret to improvement and to happiness. If you chase perfection, you will always be frustrated. If you chase progress, you will always feel proud. Stephen nodded, understanding now more than ever. I will focus on progress, Grandpa, not perfection. Grandpa placed a hand on his shoulder. Good. And one more thing, Stephen. Celebrate your small victories. Every drawing you complete, every step you take toward your goal is proof of progress. Don't wait for perfection to feel proud. Feel proud now, because every effort counts. As the sun began to set, painting the room in warm orange light, Stephen continued drawing with determination. He no longer feared mistakes or flaws. Each line was a step forward, each sketch a small victory. Grandpa watched him quietly, sipping his tea, and said softly, Stephen, the goal is not to be perfect, but to be better than you were yesterday. That is the secret to improvement and to happiness. If you chase perfection, you will always be frustrated. If you chase progress, you will always feel proud. Stephen smiled, feeling a weight lift from his shoulders. I will keep going, Grandpa. I will focus on getting better little by little. And that evening, as the stars appeared in the sky, Stephen realized that happiness and success were not about perfection at all. They were about progress, patience, and persistence.